Welcome to the Intentional Awakening Podcast with your hosts, Kathy Brewer and Terrie Huberman.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Intentional Awakening Podcast. I'm Terrie Huberman.
And I am your co-host, Kathy Groover. And today, as always, we are going to pick an angel card. And oh, what a doozy today.
I can't wait.
Depth.
Oh, dang.
And it actually has a little description because I'm pulling this from the online one, not the box, because that's at my office. Go deeper. Pay attention to what is beneath the threshold of awareness. Dive below surface appearances and respond to what is really going on, which leads us to a very interesting topic today, which is
timeline jumping. Timeline jumping. All right.
I can't wait for this.
So here's the thing. You know me, Kathy. I like to bite size and make things very practical and pragmatic, right? In the spiritual community, bless their hearts, they like to overly dramatize. They like to stretch things out. And honestly, what that does is it complicates things. And I think it's actually a sign of spiritual ego, in my personal and professional opinion. Look, but the concept of timeline jumping is super simple and it's super easy. And it's about making choices. That's how you jump timelines. People are like, oh, you do this action and you do this ritual and you do this practice or whatever, 30 days in a row and blah, blah, blah. So yes, consistency in any action is the key to growth,
100%,
right?
Yep.
And what are you doing when you're being consistent in that action is that you're becoming through an aligned action, right? Because you have an intention and you're following the intention with action. So just having an intention doesn't do anything. So if you're like, well, I want to jump to a timeline where I'm rich, you just can't do that. You have to be.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to try it.
Look, I've tried it and I'm not where I want to be yet, So timeline jumping is about becoming a version of the person who has whatever it is that you want to manifest or whatnot. Okay. How do you do that? By making choices. That's it. So with my clients, I teach them about the concept of anding instead of oring. Because when you or something, it is about limitation, right? When you and something, it's about abundance. It means you have options for more things, right? Timeline jumping is about understanding that you don't have to be where you are in this now moment of reality, physical reality, that there are other options that you could be doing that you may not be doing or taking actions that you're taking in order to become. So it's about change. It's about understanding abundance and not limitation. Does that make sense? So go ahead.
So just to clarify for my little human brain that kind of went a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I hear timeline jumping, I think of an entirely different thing.
Tell me.
Which is in some other parallel universe, there's a Kathy that made different choices who maybe went to New York and not California, right. Maybe who had the successful acting career in LA, and in some other timeline is some famous actress someplace who maybe chose to have kids. So there's a timeline where there's mom Kathy. I don't want to meet that one. So timeline. So did you ever watch Community?
I did. I love that show.
So there's one episode where they have different timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Because are they playing D&D where they roll the
I
dice
think
and it
so.
gives them
Yeah, I
different
think it
time?
would.
Okay,
Yeah.
also big D&D fan. Um, and then people walk in and different, but doesn't somebody always die? I don't remember. I don't want to ruin it for
Right.
anybody. Such a good episode. But that's how I've always thought of timeline jumping is, like I know I've jumped to other people's realities and dreams. I
Mm-hmm.
know that. It's way too real life as a
Yeah.
dream to have. So if there's a timeline where Kathy is still acting in Hollywood someplace, how do I and if we go with the concept that everything's happening simultaneously, which also blows my little
Right.
mind. Timeline jumping then to me is landing your consciousness in a different version of your life.
Right. But the thing about it is that you're not vibrating at a matching frequency. So that
Mm,
so if you want to think about dimensions, here's Kathy dimension where you are right now, and here's Kathy dimension as in New York, right? So where you are now, even or we can even say, well, you're not really matched to it. So
right.
it's a different
Just
dimension, a different
not a different
timeline,
level.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not, your energetics are not vibrating at the same vibration as Kathy in New York, but that doesn't mean Kathy in New York isn't also vibrating at a certain place, right? So that means you're
Right.
anding. So we know where a version of Kathy is right here in this now moment. And there could also be a version of Kathy in New York over here. It's just that you're based on your vibe. I know it's a lot. Okay, it's a lot.
Oh, good. Because I
But
thought, oh no, my mind's about to just
no,
explode.
but what I want to do is I want to simplify this so that you can get to Kathy
Mm,
in New York if you want to get to Kathy in New York. The thing is, you have to become Kathy in New York. But if you stay Kathy in LA, you can't become Kathy in New York. You have to take some sort of actions that will move you and close that gap. Does that make sense?
but then that I'm going to be for all the people listening that are going which is
Yeah.
sort of because all this stuff is always I love it
Yeah.
and I completely groove on it and my brain doesn't comprehend it.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily about manifestation
No, it's
because
about energy.
Kathy, now I'm pretty damn happy with Kathy now.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to be Kathy in New York, but
Correct.
somewhere Kathy in New York is happening.
Correct.
Um, oh, I was going to ask a question and then it left. The other Kathy took it. I don't know where it went.
Kathy.
Oh, it's like okay, so it's like the old radio station where you'd have to move the dial.
You
So
have to
as I move it,
tune.
all the songs are playing at the same time.
Correct.
I'm
Correct.
just picking which station I'm listening to.
You
And
want,
right
yeah.
now
Do you
I'm
want
listening to
rap?
Kathy in Santa Barbara.
Right. Do you want country? Do you want hip
I
hop?
don't want country.
Well,
That would be fun.
that's fine. But so all of these are happening because it's all based on energy, which is again why, and I'll keep saying this over and over again, is like that's why I like to teach about how energy works. Because when you understand how energy works, you can do something about it, right?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is that there are actually signs that you've jumped timelines, meaning you're not the
Ooh.
same version of yourself. And I want to share two experiences that I've
Please, please,
had.
please.
Now, first of all, a more subtle way of knowing that you're in evolution, that's really the best way to call it, is like evolution.
Hmm.
It is, and it doesn't necessarily have to, again, it could be you get your manifestations, which are really the emotions behind the manifestation, like the actual
Hmm.
tangible thing. That's the real manifestation. But there, on a very subtle level, you get your manifestations. But the biggest the biggest signs are weird as fuck. I had the first time I had that, it was around COVID time. So that was what, like March, like right when it was like
Hmm.
March 2020, right when we got like locked down and all of that.
Yep.
Now in LA, the weather is like really nice. It's crisp. It's nice. And at the time I lived in West Hollywood, so I was walking down Melrose, a
Mm,
super busy, heavy street. And I used to like to take my morning walks. I mean, during COVID, it was empty anyways, but
right.
I like to take them in the morning when it's cool and crisp and all that. So I'm walking down Melrose, and all of a sudden, there is a smashed pumpkin in the middle of Melrose. Like, why is there a pumpkin, which is usually fall season,
Right.
in the middle on Melrose? Like, and I was like, what the hell? Like, that was so bizarre that time-wise, the pumpkin didn't match
Hmm.
spring. And I'm like, what is going on here time-wise? And I'm like, something within me changed that I was
Hmm.
able to recognize a whole other time in that
Mm,
moment of reality. And I was like, dude, that's bizarre. And I knew,
hmm.
I just, you know what it's like when you just
Yeah.
feel, you can sense something is different, right? And then,
Yep.
like, okay, so I had jumped timelines. Like I had become a different version of the person that I used to be, and there was a sign of
Mm,
that. About 3 weeks ago was the latest one that happened. Crazy. So I live in the valley now, and I was
hmm.
taking my morning walk. And I'm walking past this alley, and all of a sudden I see one of those clear boxes. The lid is off, and in the box are a shit ton of newspapers, right? And I even posted this on Instagram. So if anybody who's watching this, go to my
Mm.
Instagram, you can see it. There are a ton of newspapers. Do you know what they were dated? 2001. Was it 2001 or 2010? I can't remember. I have to go back to the Instagram. But they were
Not
like,
now.
not now, and a whole box of them. And they were talking about George Bush and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's a whole other time. Why are these here? What is going on? Crazy. So somehow I also
Hmm.
in the either in that moment or the moments of reality where I
Yeah.
am now, I'm not the same person I used to be. So this is crazy wild.
Yeah.
I just want I want people to understand that it doesn't have to be complicated, and that if you're not happy with where you are now, you can change
Mm,
the storyline, which is a timeline jump. So it
yeah.
doesn't have to be complicated to like all these different Cathys and all these different ways. Because it doesn't, if you think about it, it doesn't really matter to the human who you are in this now moment.
Right.
What matters is who you are in this now moment.
Right. Well, and I'm going to toss a little bit of reincarnation, sort of karma into this for a second in
Yeah.
the 10 seconds
Yeah.
we have now. Um, I believe, and we're going to have a whole episode about this. I believe we land on this planet with certain contracts, with
Correct.
almost sort of a ticked checklist of here's what you're going to learn this time, right? And I believe that no matter what route we go, we're going to come into situations where we check off those boxes. So if when I was at Point Park College, and well, let's go further than that, I did not get into Carnegie Mellon. I'm still on the waiting list. I'm sure I'll hear any day. But I ended up going to Point Park. So Point Park is what taught me massage. And I decided to go to LA, not New York, because I joked if I was going to be a starving actor, I'd rather do it on the beach than in a dirty city. But
Hmm.
I believe that had I gone to New York instead of California, even if I went the acting route and not the healing route, I still would have learned the lessons I'm supposed to learn, met the people that are supposed to carry me forward, and check off those boxes of the things that was my contract landing on this planet. I fully believe that
Yeah.
because I've often wondered, it's like, God, what if I would have, it's those pivotal moments, right, of choosing one thing or another and it completely changes your life. I think it completely changed our life, but we still get done the things that we set out to do on this planet. I believe that.
Yes.
And so so what I just said, how would you say that fits in with this concept of timeline jumping? That's sort of what we're talking about, right?
It is because we are given, and this is where I believe, and most people do believe, or they want to even believe that we're given free will where we get to choose. So
Hmm.
it comes down to this. We're going to keep bringing this up, but it comes down to boundaries, like, right? Like
Hmm.
something's going to happen, but within those set of boundaries, you have all the freedom in the world, right? So if
Yep.
in this lifetime, you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z, how you get there is the freedom and the choice. That's where we get to it. It's a choose your own adventure. That's what this is. You're going to get to the same place anyways. Everything always works out for me. The how and when is none ya. It's none of your business, but you do have to have accountability and responsibility to choose your way
Yep.
through. And that's where you actually have control of
Mm.
timeline jumping. We are not out of control. We get to choose. Through our choices, we learn how to get control.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and to that point, and we have to end in a second, but
Yeah.
when I was a kid, there were certain things that I dreamt of, fantasized about, and wanted so bad. I wanted to be on a billboard. I ended up on a billboard in Times Square for a marketing campaign I did. I wanted to write books. I thought they were going to be fiction. I wrote 8 nonfiction books. I wanted to have, remember in like Tiger Beat or Teen Beat,
Oh,
like we used to
yeah.
read as a kid,
Oh,
it
yeah.
had like the pre-written interview with the celebrity and it had like their
Yeah.
headshot and then like 10 questions. I
Yeah.
always wanted to have one of those because I
Me
was going to be this
too.
famous actress, right? Well, I had 2 of those in Massage Magazine. I never wanted to step off stage and I haven't, except now I'm a motivational speaker and not an actor. I
Yeah.
wanted to have my own TV show. I did. So it's like all of these things that I dreamt of having as a kid, I got, just not the way I thought they would be.
The how and when is none yet, Kathy, but you got
Magazine
there.
cover. I mean, like all the things that
Yeah.
I fantasized about having, I got
Yeah.
down to certain houses, down to
Yeah.
certain relationships. Down, I mean, houses. I'm in California. I rent. Let's be honest. Um, but okay. But on that note,
Yeah.
enjoy the timeline you're in, and if you want to switch, start making choices, feel into those things that you want, and trust that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Correct?
Exactly. It's a great
Great.
formula. But well,
Do.
we missed a part. Take action.
Oh yes, yes, yes. You can't just sit around and
You
start
can't just,
affirming things.
yeah.
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 No,
Yeah.
you got to do something too. The action and the action and the intention. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. I am Kathy Gruber. I can be reached at kathygruber.coach.
And I'm Terrie Huberman. You can reach me at terriehuberman.com. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We look forward to our next episode with you.
And we'll see you next week.